We're talking about all things real estate with the star of the real estate show, Polly Wooldridge, this morning. And you've got a lot of things coming up, the show, lots of advice to give. And we're talking about the house we're in today. Tell me about everything.
Well, for starters, we are going to talk about a lot of different things. And I wanted to just say that I've got a book that's everything you want to know about real estate. It's in simple language, and I'm happy to give it free if anyone would contact me at pollywooldridge.com. So, this house is 3407 Westbrook Circle, and the reason we're here is because this is a house that's been flipped. And most people know that that means someone bought it low and is selling, made improvements and selling it at a profit. So it's a great thing for an investor because they can buy like a foreclosure property, a distressed property, and carefully calculate their cost of the upgrades because you don't want to get in trouble with your budget. The idea to flip a house is to make money.
Right.
So carefully consider that and know what you can sell it for after the improvements. So that's why you really need a good agent to guide you through that, to find a foreclosure home or a distressed home that is going to be in a great area for resale, help you to figure out what's going to make it sell because kitchens and bath upgrades are important. This one has some beautiful tile surrounding the bath and shower, some really nice upgrades, all new appliances, flooring. And one thing that he did with this house that I love is he took an old ordinary brick fireplace and covered it with stacked stone to make it modern. Very cool.
It's very pretty too, and I like the fire pit out back.
Hey, who doesn't like a fire pit? That is fun for kids. It's great for adults. It's just a really nice feature most all year long, really. So the other thing about a flipped house is who's going to buy it. The advantage in buying a flipped house is that all the work is already done. So if you've saved up your money for a down payment, you've saved up your money for closing costs, or with some loans you can ask the seller to pay the closing costs for you, then you can move in and you don't have to spend all your time working on the house once you've moved in. You can just enjoy it, and you don't have to spend a lot of extra money fixing up or improving the major systems, a new roof or things like that. It's already done for you. So it's an advantage for an investor. It's an advantage for a buyer. It can be a good deal.
Right, and that's a very good point too, because you actually can save yourself some money by buying as opposed to renting, right?
Oh my goodness. Right now, if you were to buy a home about $180,000 to $190,000, in rent you'd pay $1,100 to $1,300 a month. Well, if you were to buy that same home at today's interest rate with taxes and insurance included, it would only be about $850. What a savings. Wow. So why not buy?
Exactly. And getting advice from you like that, there's a million things. There's a million statistics. There's so much to learn. It would make me feel better in buying or selling a home that I knew somebody that knows the market currently is on top of that.
Right, and the statistics are in your favor right now, especially as a seller. I will say that sales are up about 4% as far as the number of sales. Prices are up about 6% over last year, and appreciation also about 4.1%. So it's a great time to sell and a great time to buy because interest rates are still low. They should be going up this year. We estimate that they'll be about 4.5% by the end of the year. So if you're a seller, right now Lynchburg is in a seller's market. We're seeing multiple offers on properties.
Gotcha.
But you have to market it the right way. It's got to be ready.
Right. And it's a good point too, because if you're just sitting back and you're waiting and waiting, maybe those interest rates are going up, or you're spending more in rent than you would if you just bought the home.
Right. Don't use or think of the real estate market like the stock market. Buy when you're ready. If your credit is in good shape, if you've saved up a down payment, you're going to be in the area for a while, then it's probably smart for you to buy now. Don't think, well, I'm going to wait till prices come down, or I'm going to wait until whatever that is. Wait until spring, wait until winter. buy when you're ready. Don't wait on the market, because everything is relative and ends up balancing out, whether it's the economy and jobs and pay scale, along with the price of homes in the market.
Good advice. And you can get so much more advice from you coming up in May and June because you have a show coming out.
I'm excited. I love it. I try to do it every summer. And so in May and June, every Saturday at 6 a.m., we'll be showing houses that are actually on the market. Cool. So, everybody wants to see what's for sale right now. Right. So these are houses that are currently on the market. And I have tips for buyers and sellers. It's so easy to sell your house if you prepare it correctly. Mm-hmm. So if your house is not ready, it's going to sit on the market, and then it's probably going to get reduced. And, that's not what anybody wants. Buyers are out there looking, they're smart. If you're in a particular price range, they may have already looked at all the other houses in that price range. So if yours looks good, it's priced right, the first buyer that goes in is going to recognize that. They're smart, they know, and they do their homework these days.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And make sure you check out her show every Saturday in May and June, the Real Estate Show with Polly Wooldridge, 6 a.m. right here on ABC 13. And if you'd like to get more advice with her, or you just want to buy or sell or learn about listings in the area, you can give Polly a ring at 434-851-1508, online at pollywooldridge.com, or you can find her on Facebook.
Welcome, I'm Polly Wooldridge with John Stewart Walker, a realtor in the Lynchburg, Virginia area. In the next 30 minutes, you'll join me to see some houses that are currently on the market, and I'll share some tips from my book on all you need to know about real estate. It's for buyers, for sellers, investors, and we'll talk a little bit about how the market is. It's a great time right now to get into the real estate market, whether you're buying or selling, because home sales are up 5%, and the pricing is up 6.5% over last year. So it's a great time to sell your house. At the same time, rates are low. If you're a buyer, now's the time before they go up again. So join me in watching these houses that are on the market, getting some tips that might be helpful for you. And if you'd like to, write me for a free copy of my book at pollywooldridge.com. Now check out these homes that are on the market now. Would you go into a court of law without being represented by a lawyer? Probably not. So why would you go into a real estate transaction without being represented by a realtor? First of all, let me explain the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor, because there is a difference. We both can sell real estate, whether you're listing or buying. But a realtor is a member of the National Association of Realtors. So we are held to a code of ethics, a higher standard, and the number 1 article says that your interest is our first concern. So we are bound to that code of ethics, and you're guaranteed that we're looking out for you. Now, if you're selling a home, 98% of homes sold are sold by a realtor. And on the flip side, a for sale by owner, 80% of those contracts fall through. And there's a reason. It's complicated. There's a lot involved. So we take you through the entire process. And you might think, I can't afford a realtor, but homes that are sold by realtors sell for more money than homes that are not sold by realtors. As a buyer, you're not going to write a check to your realtor. That price, the commission, is built into the price of the house. So buyer or seller, you're not writing a check for that, but you're getting represented. You're not going to pay too much for that house because we're going to guide you through that process. But on the flip side, you're going to get more for your house because we're going to price it accurately, get it sold quickly. So how do you choose a realtor? Choose one who is a realtor, a member of the National Association of Realtors. Choose one that has designations. ABR, CRS, GRI, they all mean something. I don't have to explain to you except to tell you that means we have more education and more years of experience. And isn't that what you want when your representative is negotiating on your behalf, when you're going through all those forms? You know, even writing the contract, every word makes a difference in what's included or not included, what the contingencies are to protect you. And then when you're negotiating, those are some skills that experience hones. And you want a realtor who's a professional negotiator on your behalf. And then all the way to closing. We'll explain all the steps, make sure all the inspections and reports get done, and make sure that you close on time and get what you need to get. If you're a buyer, you want those keys at closing. And if you're a seller, you want to get that check, right? So pick a realtor with designations and experience. Interview a few before you choose one. Make sure you're comfortable with that person. You may spend some time with them, and you certainly need to be able to trust them. So look for one who's a realtor rather than a real estate agent. You know, Google them. Find out what comes up when you Google their name. Nowadays, we have the advantage of online searches that tell us a whole lot. So I encourage you to get a realtor first, and then let's get going. I'd like to talk to buyers for just a few minutes because there's a process that you need to go to, but there's a particular place you need to start, and that is get a realtor. Because you can look online, it's a lot of fun, and you can even go to open houses on your own, but you're going to want somebody on your side to represent you when it's time to make that offer. And besides that, they have access to the multiple listing service and can show you homes that maybe you couldn't find on your own. They can also show you for sale by owner homes. So interview a couple of realtors, but make sure you pick someone that you trust and don't mind spending time with. And I have a couple other tips for you. Pick someone who's got some experience. New agents are excited and they'll give you 110%. But when it comes to negotiating, I think you might want an agent with some experience. Look for additional education, designations. It's those letters that come after our name. And they mean something, whether it's accredited buyer representative, an ABR, or CRS, a certified residential specialist. You know, those things mean that we have more experience and that we also took more classes. We have more education. So look for designations because they do mean something, and it's important. down the road when you're negotiating, maybe issues come up. Sometimes that happens. I know that's a big surprise, right? But that's what we're here to help you with, is any problems that come up. So get a realtor. Second, get a lender. Again, you can go online and check out rates and get pre-approved, but let me tell you, you will get 150 million emails if you do that, which is fine, but be prepared. You want a guy or girl that you can walk in and see them face to face. You want to go in their office, talk to them. There's a lot of trust that needs to be established because you're giving them your whole life history, and plus some. So get pre-approved. They can talk to you and check your credit score and tell you how much you can afford and about what that monthly payment's going to be. So that's valuable information before you ever even go look at a house, right? You don't want to look at something that's too expensive, fall in love, and then find out you can't afford it. So do that first, and then let's go shopping. I have some tips for you. Always look for 3 bedrooms or more, even if you don't need 3 bedrooms. It's good for resale. Look for more than 1 bathroom. Again, you might be buying your first house by yourself, but down the road, look for 2 full bathrooms if possible. And then the first thing is location, because that really determines appreciation. How much more are you going to get when you go to sell that house someday? You want to make money off of it, right? Well, of course you do. So your realtor can help you with location and appreciation information about different areas. And then you really have to think about, how do I live? What's important to me? Do I really need to be close to the elementary school where my kids are? Maybe it's really important to have a formal dining room because you have your grandma's set and you got to have space for that. It might be a yard for your pets that's fenced. But think about those things, make your wish list, and give that to your realtor. The other thing is think about resale and value, and maybe even adding on, like an unfinished basement. If you finish that during the time that you own that house, your appreciation is going to skyrocket. And that's the idea. Maybe a walk-up attic that could be finished. There's a lot of different things that your realtor can show you, inexpensive ways to add square footage to your house and add value. And isn't that what we all want? To add value to the biggest purchase you're going to make in your life, your home. So get a realtor you can trust, get pre-approved, and then let's go shopping. Hello, I'm Polly Wooldridge, and I'm selling a home in your neighborhood. Buying or selling a home is one of the most important things you'll ever do, and I want to help make that experience as smooth and successful as possible. As a realtor with John Stewart Walker, I'm a full-time award-winning agent with over 15 years service to the Lynchburg area. I have a reputation of doing business with integrity and a passion to serve. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, contact pollywooldridge.com.
plan on buying a house, the first thing you're going to need to do is get pre-approved for a loan, because you need to know what you can afford, how much that monthly payment's going to be, and how much money you need up front at closing. So it's also vital to the seller of the home you want to buy. Sellers, make sure that those buyers, when they present an offer to you, have a pre-approval letter attached to that. It shows that they've started that process and that they have the right to make that offer. So I'm here with Joe Yock from J.G. Wentworth. He is one of my very favorite mortgage lenders because we make a good team and it makes the process easier for our buyers and sellers. So Joe, I want you to tell them how important it is to have pre-approval and a little bit about that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Polly. It's very important. I mean, buying a home is a major decision, as we all know. You can buy things online. You can look for vacuum cleaners and T-shirts and all that kind of. But then when you start talking about, hey, this potentially could be the biggest financial investment in my life. That can be a little bit scary, right? But it can be extremely positive. As we all know, home ownership is a very positive thing for our communities and for the people within the community. So how do you want to do that? That's the question. And you can go online and you can jump on a rocket and fly on off and see what you get. Or remember, you're not buying a vacuum cleaner, you're buying a home. And you can meet with a local professional that can sit down and talk closing costs, talk interest rate, talk programs that are the best programs for their particular situation. Everybody's situation is a little bit unique, and you have to be able to sit down with that local professional, I believe, with such a big decision on their hands, and be able to make the right decision that is best for them. So getting that pre-qualification like you're talking about, the pre-approval that you're talking about, and having that letter in your hand to go with your realtor. So when you find that dream home that you want to live in, have that in your hand and ready to go is a big step in the negotiation process. And not only that, but also being comfortable with what you're doing, making sure that you know the facts of what you're doing and how you're going to do it, what your monthly payment is going to be, so on and so forth. So it is extremely important.
There's a lot of trust that you've got to have with your lender because you're giving them your blood just about. Sorry, but and there are a lot of different types of loans. So if you just give them a brief idea of the basic kinds of loans, because not everyone is going to be the right loan for you. So
yeah, it's understanding everybody's situation. Everybody. That's the one thing I've been blessed to be able to do this for the past 17 years. And the one thing that I found is everybody's situation is a little bit unique. And so you got to what I always say to my clients is, hey, you know your financial situation better than I do. However, what I can do is gather that information and then use our knowledge, our team's knowledge, to be able to figure out what is best for you in your current situation. So whether that is I'm a first-time home buyer and I'm buying in the county and I want to do a USDA loan to get 100% financing, or I've got a little bit of money to put down and I can do a 3.5% FHA loan, whatever that may be. I got a lot of money. I'm buying my second house. I'm pulling a lot of, I sold that home and I have a lot of equity from that home, and I can put 20% down and do a conventional loan, and I don't have to pay mortgage insurance. VA loans, what are ways that we can avoid mortgage insurance? What are the ways that we may have to pay them? So there's just so many options available to you. You got to figure out what the right one is.
Yeah, those VA loans have a lot of great benefits, as they should. Our veterans deserve a little break. But the other thing is, as a realtor, it's so important that that you answer the phone, because if you're dealing with an online lender and they're not answering the phone and responding, that can delay closing, and then you've got movers and utilities and all kinds of complications with that, so we don't want that issue. The other thing that you might mention is the importance of appraisal. When you're negotiating and buying a home, you've got to qualify for that loan. But The house also has to appraise.
That's right, and having your local appraiser do that is that we've done a great job of separating the lender from the appraiser. The appraiser is ordered through a third-party company, and then that appraiser does it specifically on their own, and then they can give that buyer and seller a true value for what their home really is. So that is extremely important.
So what would you tell somebody is the best way to choose which lender they should have? You know, how do they choose you over somebody else, or what are they looking for?
Yeah, I think you know, the main thing is, once again, I stand on this. I think you need to find a local professional that can sit down and talk with you through you may have some credit issues that need to be worked out. That local pro can help you do that. I also like the fact from J.G. Wentworth Home Lending is simply that we originate, we process, we underwrite, and we close our own loans, and we fund all our stuff in-house. So to be able to control the process from start to finish, and we currently service a lot of our own loans. So if you have a servicing issue, you can pick up the phone and you call me directly, not an 800 number. So yeah, it's just finding that right person that can help walk you through every step of the way and can do it in-house, I think is critical.
That's great. That's a good point. Joe actually hand-delivered paperwork for a closing for my husband and I think, gosh, was that 20 years ago, Joe?
We're getting old. We're not that old, Paul.
Oh, okay. Well, it was pretty close, I can tell
15,
you.
I bet.
But yeah, the experience that you have certainly comes into play. And you know, J.G. Wentworth is a company you can trust. So how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way to reach me is either go to my website, which is joejloans.com, and honestly or the office number, 434-525-0200. So either joejloans.com or call directly in the office, and somebody will be there with a smiling face to pick up the phone and walk you through the whole process.
Okay, I only have one last question. Where are the green pants?
Well, the green pants got retired the other day because the wife said that she referred to them as being a little bit ill-fitting. I know what she's trying to tell me right there. But the new ones have come in, so Green Pants 2.0 are on their way. Stay tuned.
You got to make it a little bit fun. I mean, it's a very stressful process going through the home buying and all that. So Joe makes it a little easier. Thanks, Joe, for being with me today.
Thank you, Polly.
So did you see a house you're interested in? If so, give me a call. And if you'd like to get a copy of my free book, just contact me at pollywooldridge.com. And look out for the car around town. Post it on Where's Wooldridge, wherever you see the car, and there's a drawing every week. I'd love to help you buy, sell, or invest. So give me a call, and I'll see you soon.